and Bishop Genevieve is making her way. Thank you. Good morning. What a delight to welcome you to All Saints Greensborough today on the International Day of People with Disability. Hello, my name is Reverend Julie Blinko-Smith and I'm the Senior Minister here. Before we start, I'd like to introduce you to Michelle Pillmore. She's an honorary staff member here, hospitality facilitator and also team leader of our Friendship Club, who'll be leading us with the acknowledgement of country.
We acknowledge the triune God, Father, Son and Holy Spirit, the creator of heaven and earth and the ownership of all things. We recognise that he gave stewardship of these lands upon we met the First Nation people of the country in his sovereignty. He has allowed other people groups to migrate to these shores. We acknowledge the cultures of our First Nation people and are thankful for the community that we share together now. We pay our respects to the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nations and their elders both past and present and those who are rising up to become leaders.
Well, as mentioned, today is International Day of People with Disability. It is United Nations Observed Day, recognised on the 3rd of December each year. And the aim of this day is to raise awareness understanding and acceptance of 5.5 million people with disability in Australia. Just going to click this one forward. I might ask you, Karen, if you could click it forward. This clicker's not working. In 1992, the UN declared the 3rd of December as an International Day of Disabled People. Each year, the UN announces a theme that gives a focus for society to remove barriers for people with disability and become more inclusive. In Australia, this day is a joint effort between governments, schools, organisations, community groups, businesses and individuals. The Australian Government has been supporting it since 1996, and through the Department of Social Services, it promotes and raises awareness of this day throughout the year and also on this day, the 3rd of December. So thank you all in joining to celebrate and recognise and come from various parts of Victoria on trains and driving down as well. It's a day which the Anglican Diocese of Melbourne will also be launching their Disability and Inclusion Action Plan. And I want to recognise Bishop Geneve here today, Virginia MacDonald, Anne Fairweather, and their whole team who have worked so hard on this action plan, which is theologically grounded, pragmatic in approach, easy to interact with, and supportive in process. I believe it will lead us as a diocese to seeing greater dignity and inclusion collectively across our churches, and therefore better for people anywhere who wish to visit and become involved in a Christian faith community. I also want to recognise and honour others who are advocating in this space and using the resources they have and the influence they have to speak up and improve systems towards greater inclusion, accessibility and belonging for all. At a federal level, Honourable Mark Butler; at a state level, Lizzie Blanthorne; and a local level, Banyule Council team, all who have sent their apologies on this day with multiple other functions on. Mel from Goodbrick, who we'll hear from later. The team from Primed, Araluen, who've been serving tea and coffee. Tony MacDonald, and I probably could mention each person in this space. Welcome to each of you. Thank you for coming. Please feel at ease, stand, sit, fidget, stretch, do what you need to do to feel comfortable and to enjoy this celebration. We also invite you to remain afterwards for some refreshments served by the team at Primed, who are working with our Wednesday morning service team. Please stay to use this opportunity for some refreshments, but also to ask questions and make new connections. So as I reflect on this day and the significance and launch of this action plan, I've reflected a little on my own journey in this space, both at a parish level and also a personal level. And two things really stood out. I was invited to lead this parish about 5 years ago, and I was so inspired arriving to a 10:30 service to see such inclusive practices with the Friendship Club. It has shaped and blessed this parish for nearly 4 decades. It is a space for friendship, pastoral care, connection and discipleship for those with differing abilities. And we all enjoy the fruit and legacy of this group. Most Sunday mornings I sit around there and most times it's next to a woman called Robin. Robin will sing with gusto from her heart, from her lungs. It's rarely in tune and it's rarely with words, except occasionally holy, holy, holy. And when she sings with gusto, I feel like it really leads to less inhibitions for everyone in the room. And it releases joy in the room. And the musos are forced to play just a little bit louder to include the pitch in that. So I was so grateful for Robin. And then Frances often sits around here and I appreciate her commentary on things that we're doing. Next item, or I like that carol, or oops, sorry, I probably should say that quieter. And Mary brings her new jewels and shows me what she's purchased each week. It's been a very enriching time for everyone and helps us draw closer to God. Secondly, an experience comes to mind from a few years ago. I'm on parish council and there's a young woman there who was also on parish council at the time, Nikki. She's with cerebral palsy Sometimes she uses a wheelchair, sometimes she doesn't. She walks. Sometimes she uses a text-speech assistant device, and sometimes not. And one night after parish council, everyone had gone home, and she was outside standing on the curb. It was raining, it was dark. I was wondering what was happening. I finished packing up, locking the doors, and then went outside and, Nikki, what's up? You're still here. And she said, I've just been wondering how to get to my car. And her car was within, a few metres away. I said, what do you mean? And she said, it's rainy and it's dark, and I'm afraid if I step down, I might fall over. I found out the technical term, there's no sloping crossover here for me to be able to walk down. And she was just explaining it because I asked, but it really, really broke my heart that I hadn't thought of that before and I hadn't noticed that before. It was only a 12-centimetre step down, but in the dark, in the rain, she feared falling and wasn't sure how to get to her car. It moved me deeply, and I had realised I had much to learn about welcome and more intentional, inclusive practices. So that incident and others caused me to read more, to learn more, to attend conferences, books such as Amy Kenny's memoir, My Body is Not a Prayer Request, Louise Gosbell's theological inputs, and the recent neurodivergent conference, Belonging by Design, as well as many conversations along the way, have really helped me on a personal level to be shaped and more formed in this space. They've shaped and formed understanding. I'm by no means an expert, and our church is by no means gold standard, but we're all trying, we're all learning, and we're trying to make it a place where everyone feels welcomed and included. After all, inclusion is at the very heartbeat of God, who invites all as we are to be fully seen, fully known by Him, and in friendship with others, to dine with Him and be His people. He shows us that people are gifts and we're given to each other, to care for each other and to love. So without further ado, Karen, a member of our parish, will share a poem she's written about her lived experience, and this will be followed by Bishop Geneve and Virginia MacDonald, who will launch the Diocese Action Plan. Thanks, Karen.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Karen, and this is going to bring back a few tears and a lot of sad memories, but it's what God has done in me, and I'm very proud to say that I've just finished a training package for the Anglican Diocese of Melbourne, which has been really, really good. I was asked to write this poem for this particular day, and I'm very proud to be part of this parish. Gail has been with me since COVID. Her and I have been really good buddies, and I'm so grateful for her friendship and sisterhood. In gentle pews, I sat alone, apart. The lack of acceptance was straight from the start. My autism not wanting to be known. The front door I was always shown. We can't handle her, the comments were made. We only wish that she could behave. A jigsaw puzzle piece that never fitted so into those churches that would flourish and grow. Is she mentally all there? They all said. The congregations that I did attend. She's weird, odd, and doesn't belong. These accusations kept going on and on. Whispers of not fitting, of gifts overlooked. An eager heart to serve, but my path overbooked. The church doors stood open, yet barriers remained. But put in a straitjacket, I was restrained. Neurodiverse, a label yet unknown. My strange behaviour left me quite alone. The stares, the whispers, judgments felt like chains, excluding me from fellowship's domains. Shattered, hurt, intimidation was felt. The shame and humiliation I was dealt. You have no gifts, the arrogant people said. The egocentricity dominated their heads. No matter what I did, it never worked out. I didn't deserve it. Then things turned around in a positive way that I never expected. I went to church that gladly accepted. It opens its doors wider for me to then be invited as part of their team. The sound desk is my altar, the mixer dial's my prayer. The puppets in the drama are the stories that I share. The Bible read aloud, the communion cup I hold. My once rejected functions, now stories to be told. Accept them whole, the what, the who they are, to help them shine, each brilliant, unique star. For when we utilise the gifts they hold, the story of His glory can unfold. Oh, churches, open your doors wide. Let the neurodiverse inside. To be accepted, let their gifts shine through. You'll see for yourself what they can do. Don't doubt them, give them a chance. If you do, they'll blossom and advance. Not only within themselves, but also their souls. Let God shape them and mould them. His hand will take hold. Neurodiversity, our blessing, our strength. In God's mighty kingdom, we're cherished at length. Embrace each person, each story, each part. For church is complete with a welcoming heart. For in God's house we all belong, united in love, diverse and strong. Thank you.
Now invite Bishop Geneva and Virginia.
Before I go further, I simply want to say thank you to both Julie and to Karen for the way you have introduced what we are doing today, and really the reason why we're doing it, because we are all part of God's kingdom and we all have something to contribute, and the church is better and God can use the church more the more that we include everyone. So I'm not going to try and better that. Thank you for the invitation. I'm here effectively as chair of the Safe Ministry Reference Group. And so I'm out of my episcopate, and thank you for your patience in me finding All Saints Greensborough. I was reminded of what it was like when I was first in Melbourne, I have a limitation in life, and it is having absolutely no sense of direction. The new Archbishop had to make sure I got to a law firm in South Bank yesterday, and we got there. But once I can be very fine, but once I get disorientated, I am truly disorientated. But I got here, so that's great. And it's a real pleasure today to be here to launch again the Anglican Diocese of Melbourne's first Disability Action Plan. And with that, and why I'm saying again, is because we had the pleasure of launching it also at the Belonging by Design conference held a month or so ago. And that was a great opportunity to do that in the presence of people from other denominations and also from other parishes in the diocese as well who happen to be present, and also in terms of other Anglican dioceses. So it was just really good to take that opportunity, but it's also very important that we're having a parish launch today. And I think what I heard in what you were saying, particularly, Julie, is the journey that this parish has been on. I want to say that with the Disability Action Plan, it really is the fruit of a number of things and people. Well, when I say things, I really mean people. Firstly, it's the fruit of a long history of advocacy, and in particular at our synods. And I particularly want to acknowledge Jill at this point. She, like me, is out of the Mummagatha Episcopate, and so Jill Pickering, and I'm going to take this opportunity to give you your certificate for this, and just really, it's as it says there, 15 years championing disability access, advocacy and awareness. Jill has been a particularly strong voice, and I will say at times an uncomfortable voice, at our synod, but rightly so. And I just really want to thank you for that, and for not just advocating at that point, but also being part of how things have moved forward. So I just really want to acknowledge that, Jill, from the heart. And with that, I know I'm slightly mucking around the program, and we'll come back to the local here again, but I think this is the moment to also acknowledge Cheryl, David and Luke Sullivan from another part of the diocese. I will say thank you for coming up. I will say from my point of view, and I'll come on to that a little bit more, but Jill's voice has been supported by your voice, and I think that's really important. And I want Virginia to just take a moment to outline that a little bit more in terms of the parish, if that's okay, that you come from.
Absolutely. So Cheryl and David and Luke have spent 15 years of really raising an awareness, and one of the strengths that they bring is in teaching, learning and development. So I've got a huge list of different activities that they've been involved in, and just off the top of my head, you were heavily involved in the CBM teaching series back 15 years ago, but also the refreshed version, which is online, and that's one of the training platforms that we recommend in our Disability Action Plan. There's some wonderful stories that they both share, and Luke stars in that as well, and it's just wonderful just to have your family as a part of that training and that capacity building. That's how we learn, by hearing stories, just the poem from Karen, Julie's story. That's how we all learn from one another, and we can share our gifts with one another. So thank you so much. You've also done some work with Ridley College as well, and done lots of workshops with various churches and parishes. So I just want to acknowledge the outstanding work that you have done as a family. We are so much richer for it, and we just want to honour you today. Thank you.
I want to say just that the fruit of the disability, or the Disability Action Plan, is the fruit of also consultation. There was a diocesan-wide survey with the help of Scope, together with our disability working group, and that was really critical, and both Jill and Cheryl and others have been part of that. And also the support of that then led to the appointment of our disability inclusion consultant, Virginia McDonald, and that was really key. But I also want to, in that, acknowledge the support that I experienced as the bishop where this fell under my portfolio, the support of our agency, Brotherhood of St Lawrence, just in helping us move forward. So it's great when we can work in partnership with our agencies and really borrow or be guided by their expertise.
And we have Jennifer Lumsden here as well.
Lovely, thank you, that's great, good. Do you know, we've talked on the phone, and I think at one point we tried for Teams and I don't know, it wasn't working, so it's great to see you in person. That's wonderful. And also together Virginia and the Disability Inclusion Working Group co-designed the plan, and there was consultation with other parishes in all of that's been critical, and it's in many ways also been a team effort together with the diocesan staff. And she's not able to be here today, Anne Fairweather, because she's been on some extended leave, but she has played a critical role in that as well, our Safe Ministry Inclusion Officer. And really the plan is two things: an opportunity to understand what inclusion, belonging looks like from the perspective of people who live with disability and those living around them, and it's a resource guide. Now I'm going to let Virginia talk more about that, but what I also want to really acknowledge is, in a sense, the climate of the diocese in which this has been launched, and the role that churches like here at All Saints Greensborough and others play in having been on the journey for a long time and seeing the fruits of it. So the reality is, as pretty much I think everyone in this room will know, that when people hear the word action plan, they go, oh no, another piece of, and they use a word that I actually will not let be used normally, but I will use it now, compliance. Another piece of thing I've got to tick off and do. And it's sad, actually, that people see it like that, but I want to be fair. It's their way of trying to actually manage, all the demands that they have. This is such an opportunity for people to see the richness of inclusion. And while we don't just do it because it's Child Safe Standard 5 and we're told by the Commission for Children and Young People that we need to include people with disability, we do it because we will miss out as a church if we don't. And it's not just about children, of course, it's children, young people and adults and older people. And also because we do it because effectively it's actually how we live out the love of Jesus and live out our own modern day parables and make them a reality. And I think it's also around what actually makes our churches truly safe places to be for people, rather than places where people get damaged or have to recover so much from, as Karen, your poem made so real for us. So I'm going to leave it there in the things that I'm saying, but I also thought it's good for you to actually indicate a bit more how it can be used as a resource guide.
Sure, I've got some slides. Thanks, Karen. Great. And we have another award as well coming up too. Thank you. Yeah, that's fine. I'm not very good at driving these things. Is that working? Might get you to help me, Karen, if that's okay. Thank you. And I just want to welcome the people online, because this is being live streamed as well. So welcome, and we've got a lot of our Disability Inclusion Group members online. So yeah, I just wanted to acknowledge all of them. We have Elizabeth Murray as well, who's played a very important part in our group. It's just wonderful to be here. Thank you. Okay, so this is our Disability Action Plan launch on such a great occasion, the International Day of People with Disability. And that's a beautiful photo that we took with members of our Disability Inclusion Group, but also our friends and staff members from the diocese. So I'm very thankful for them, and for Sybil, who actually took the photograph. So just before she was going on to get married, so she still had some time to do that. Thank you. Thanks, Karen. Great. Okay. I'm going to struggle to read it from here, but I'll give it my best shot. So the plan can help churches, and I might need to turn around, so please forgive me. They're not very accessible, are they? They're not very good contrast, so there you go. It's a lesson for myself. So welcome people with disability like Jesus, so including everybody, as we've heard, Karen, just how important that is, to have a Christ-like welcome. We're to support our families and carers, because they are a special part of our church community as well, and they play such a sacrificial role, so it's important that we care for one another. and that we make sure that everyone belongs and is a part of God's mission. So we all have our gifts to share, like Karen shared earlier. She feels that she is a part of All Saints. She belongs. She's missed when she's not here. She has dear friends. This is what church is all about, including everybody, sharing our gifts. And in fact, when people are missing, we are poorer for it. We're not the full body of Christ without everybody sharing their gifts together. Thank you, Karen. Okay, so just to simplify it very simply, I've got some pretty pictures and just listed some four goals of the Disability Action Plan. We want to remove the barriers. There's lots of barriers we can see in church. We want to make sure that we address each one of them in our local context. So we don't have to do everything, but we need to look after the people in our local congregation. So we need to get to know what their individual needs might be. What does it feel like to belong in their church? The action plan also gives helpful tools and resources. So Bishop Geneve talked about a resource guide. There's some fantastic training and resources that have been curated for you. We've taken the time and the energy to put them together for you, and it's just such an honour and a privilege to be able to do that, so that you can access those things very easily and take the training and the learning back to your local teams. We need to listen to everybody, so particularly those with lived experience, so people with disabilities, families, carers and supporters, and we need to learn about what does inclusion look like to them. Because one of the big things that I've learnt is that I might think something about inclusion, whereas when you actually talk to the individual people in your own church, it might look actually very different to what you actually anticipated. So it's very important to have conversations and listen. And then we need to work together in partnership. There's so many partnerships within churches, within our local teams, and also with our community partnerships. And we learned from Julie just the fantastic partnerships that they have here at All Saints. And we're going to get to meet some of those wonderful people when we have morning tea later on. So all of these, us working together, is we're on God's mission together, and a great example of that. So just very briefly, I've gone into more of the technical language in the Disability Action Plan. As highlighted by Bishop Geneve, the Scope survey highlighted 4 key areas, and I'm just going to list them. You can see the symbols there at what they explain, but physical accessibility and mobility. Being able to get into church. Can you get into church? Can you use the facilities? Can you use the restroom? That's pretty important. Also communication and information accessibility. Can you understand what's going on in your local church? Can you hear the sermon? Can you read the pew sheets? Can you read the Bible? By the way, you've got amazing Bibles here. I heard the story about your large print Bibles. If you get a chance, if you're a guest, have a look at their large print Bibles. They are amazing, and the church fundraised that to provide a large print Bible for everybody. So well done, I'm very impressed. Sensory-friendly environment, so making sure that people are comfortable in worship, in participating in church activities. If you're feeling a bit stressed or overstimulated, is there a space where you can self-regulate and reset and engage in church and worship God again? Community leadership and belonging. So do you feel like you belong? Like Karen explained beautifully. Are you a part of the church? Are you able to share your gifts? Are you able to use your gifts to lead in your areas of passion and expertise? So they're the 4 key areas. You can find the plan on the website. So if you go into the Anglican Diocesan public website, you can click on that link and search disability inclusion. We've also got it on our ADOM portal, which is a funny word that we use, where our clergy and our church leaders can access some special training. So that's another place that it can be actioned. It's a great little digital flip book, so you can actually go into the website and flick through the pages like you would a book, and you could also download that as a PDF as well, and it's quite an interactive page, so you can go to certain areas. You don't have to read through the whole 80 pages. You can just go to different pages as you need to. There's other resources and practical tools that we've developed for the churches as well. We've got an Everybody Belongs survey, and that's a survey I really encourage local teams to sit down with people with lived experience of disability and find out that question that I raised earlier. What does inclusion look like to them? And then work with them, work with their strengths, help to overcome the barriers for them to access worship and church. Help them to overcome the barriers that stop them from belonging. There's also another checklist that we developed, and I'd like to acknowledge a wonderful person, Francesca, who volunteered her time. She's an architect and an accessibility consultant, and she helped me develop all of the different measurements because I'm not an access consultant, so she very kindly volunteered her time to do that. And that's a fantastic little tool that you can have a walk through with your church, and you can just check different areas and, can we actually access that space? What changes can we make to make that easier for people to get into that area? Do we need to clear out a cupboard? Do we need to clear out an accessible bathroom? These are just really important things to do. Making sure that the measurements are right so we can get a wheelchair in, we can access different places. There's also a little building access guideline that I put together with Francesca, which basically takes all of the technical terms away from the standards and the codes, and it just makes it a little bit simpler to understand for local parishes. And then there's also the Everybody Grows tool, which is a little review tool that was developed just to keep one another accountable. It's something that parish councils can review every year, and they can just check on the action plans that they've developed in their local church and see any progress or any areas that they might need to change and make some adjustments to. So it's important that we continuously improve because we're on this journey together. So very quickly, I'm not going to talk too much longer. Where do we start? And this is where the reading the slide gets very difficult for me. So I might just quickly turn around. So we need to listen to people. So we need to listen to people with lived experience and also use those surveys. Everybody Belongs, the Making Room checklist. We need to appoint a disability champion from parish council or from the leadership team. That's really important feedback that we got through the consultation with local parishes. It needs to be governed by the leadership of the church. And then they can form a working group. We need to consult with other experts. So our property department at the diocese is a really handy resource, and they can give you access to contractors, accessibility consultants, that sort of thing. And you can also contact me for some support. We need to also reflect and report any updates back to parish council. And we can also utilise that Everybody Grows tool as well. And then we need to grow. We need to join a community of practice for continued ongoing learning and development and have any questions answered as well. And there we go, we've got Jill starring there. So to take home, in a nutshell, we encourage you to use a person-centred parished approach. What helps you belong? Remember that question, what helps you belong? And thank you for being a part of this journey. And a thank you to Bishop Genevieve and Julie, and also to All Saints for hosting this wonderful event. And please send us any feedback or send me an email. Thank you. There's a hard copy here if anybody wants to have a look at it and you're not a digital person. All right, I'm just going to take a moment also to award Tony. It's probably a good segue for Tony's story as well. Or we can wait.
What about if I launch the plan in prayer and then we might have Tony's story?
Yes,
so
that's fine.
Yeah. So what I really wanted to do is just take the opportunity to launch the plan in prayer. And this is a prayer that it's adapted from the prayer that is from the Archbishop, who is now the Archbishop, not the Archbishop-elect, and I in the beginning of the guide. May this plan, the making it into a reality in each of our churches, help us reflect Christ's call to love, to welcome, and to include. Open our eyes and hearts to removing barriers to participation, those with disability and those who share their journey. Please lead us towards becoming a church where every person is seen, valued, and able to flourish using their God-given gifts in the body of Christ. And it's in his name we pray. Amen.
Stay tuned, because Tony MacDonald's story is wonderful to hear, and we might just leave that till how we finish up before we head out for a coffee. I was asked to reflect a little on our parish experience relative to the launch, and let me say, from a local parish perspective, I thank the team who have put this action plan together. The Australian Bureau of Statistics, thanks Karen if you could go to the slide, the Australian Bureau of Statistics reports that as of 2022 there are now 5.5 billion Australians with disability. This represents 21.4% of the total population. At a local level, in this parish, I'd say that number is probably closer to, if not more than, 30%. To see a couple of other stats on the screen, 1 in 10 people with disability have experienced discrimination, and more than half of older persons in Australia live with disability. Around 1 in 3 people with disability have severe or profound disability, and 56% of people with disability aged between 15 and 64 have a job. Just to paint a little bit of a context. So reading through this action plan and hearing today from Virginia and Bishop Genevieve, I can say personally that it's been really helpful to have this plan, really resourceful, really practical. It's people-focused and process-driven. And I'm grateful as a parish leader for the resources provided there. We don't need to come up with something. There's lots of checklists and click here to find this, download this, and it helps me to help people. As the plan itself encourages, and I'm going to take 2 things and just briefly speak to that, to celebrate what's happened and also to think about what your next steps are. So to celebrate what's happened, I celebrate the achievements to date of this plan, celebrate the achievements to date, especially on days such as today. Special inclusion and memories at a local level have included the Friendship Club. Some of them were baptised alongside others last year. Weekly pastoral care and discipleship. We had 170th church mega parties in the middle of the year, and the Friendship Club loved karaoke and a lot of memories of things they've done together. We celebrate too the youth group, including many neurodivergent youth. They've created a lot of the beautiful artwork that you'll see around our church. There's somewhat left on the window. We've sort of wiped it for some Christmas decorations to come. And also, as you go down the bathroom on the left-hand side, they've designed and worked with a local artist to paint on the wall cupboards there. Also, many of the parents finding peer support groups with each other. I celebrate Parish Council and the fundraisers they've done. As they've become aware of things, one by one they've addressed them, including the curb mentioned earlier and having a smoother launch into the car park, as well as all accessibility bathrooms, thinking about seating in here. Recently a request was made for more sanitary bins, for example, for increased dignity for the elderly. So we're working towards these things as we become aware of them. The new builds occurring are rightfully complying with the needs of Australian standards, and we have a point person for advocacy on Parish Council. I celebrate the communications going on. Last year we had a panel discussion with someone who had autism as well as ADHD, and both of them sharing their lived experience. Many others found that really helpful, providing them a language and a framework to share some of their own story. And there's been meaningful involvement in ministry groups, participation, involvement in the leadership and service teams according to their gifting, desire and capacity. But I also recognise we've got a few steps to go and many steps ahead of us, and the action plan is a really great tool for us there. I was grateful for the encouragement to just begin with people in your parish. Have a conversation. I remember being told, ask, where would you like to sit? If you could sit anywhere, what would you like to be involved in? Is there anything which we could do that would help you be involved in that? I mean, is that not a great conversation with anyone? Anyway, I'm grateful for the Appendix 1 resource download, creating already a survey that parish leaders can use to hear more feedback and forming an advocacy committee in that space. I was pleased to have recommendations and top tips. I particularly noted recommended fonts and language and websites which we can learn from. So there's certainly areas we can continue to improve on, but today I want to celebrate this day and the many at All Saints and in this room who have done so much over the years to make spaces safe, welcoming and inclusive for all. Thank you. I'd now like to share this space and this microphone with two of our local partners. First, Mel from the Good Brick, and then the primed team at Araluen. Mel we've got some renovations going on out the front, and they will soon, once the formal signatures are done and all the rest, but they're moving into the front footpath space. So I'd like to invite Mel up to share about what she's doing with the Good Brick. Thanks.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a privilege to be here and talk to you today. Apologies, my business partner Andrew unfortunately couldn't be here to share the story with me. 1 second. Okay. I've got my own. I'm just going to change over. Okay. Yep. Okay. Sorry. Oh, I like to move around, so. The origin story of the Good Brick. In early 2025, my business partner Andrew, he works with NDIS clients with music therapy, and he had the vision of opening. A lot of his clients are Lego aficionados and love working with Lego, and I love Lego myself. So he was working with a client one day, and they had this conversation about Lego to begin the therapy, and he had this vision where this young person was sorting Lego in a shop. He even envisaged what he was wearing down to the detail. And he asked this young person that he was working with, what are your goals? What do you want to achieve in life? And the response was, I want responsibility. I would like someone to give me goals, to give me something of substance to do, because no one had done that for him in the past. And that made Andrew really think about, wow, this is a really undervalued demographic in community where he hasn't been valued for his strengths. And he started looking around for Lego shops in the community that he might be able to get this sort of experience. And there was nothing that really sang to him. So he thought, well, why don't we start one ourselves? So he started having some conversations with Julie and a few other business people and some other people in the community, and it started to become a bit more of a reality. He then put out a call to action on a Lego user group that I'm in called Mugs. Melbourne user groups. So I'm a Lego builder and exhibitor, and his main aim was, one, to get some sort of female interactions. He had a lot of men that had come on board and offered services, but he wanted someone with retail experience, females, education background maybe if he could, and someone who could work with neurodivergence and really sort of see what we could do. So myself, I gave up work October last year to support my two beautiful neurodivergent children through a transition from Year 6 to Year 7 and from Year 10 to Year 11, which was a really important transition in their lives. So I had not gone back to the workplace. This was about May this year, and I put my hand up. I rang Andrew and got in touch and said, oh, please, I want to be in on this. So I think an hour meeting turned into half a day meeting at his house, and here we are. So we are now a couple of months off opening, possibly. We have had a couple of road bumps along the way, especially just recently. But what we are, basically, is we are a place where neurodivergent young people can find real work, real confidence, and like Karen said, she brought me to tears. Thank you so much, Karen, for that one. Karen? She's not listening. She brought me to tears. Real belonging. So we've been working with the Banyule Council, and the statistics for neurodivergent youth between the ages of 16 and 25, just in this council area, is that they're unemployed. 80% of that demographic are unemployed. And that broke my heart, yeah? They can't get a start. And if they can't get a start, where do they end? Yeah? So that isn't true for my son at the moment. He umpires for his work at the moment, but he did finish up umpiring at the end of the season, and he's going to an AFL school, so he's had the last few months off. We have been applying for work for him, and it has been challenging. We've even gone in, I know a few different tricks and tips. We've been going in, we've been presenting him, and it has been challenging. So we need to do something different, hence the good brick. So youth unemployment is high locally, but with people who are neurodivergent, it's more challenging. So the good brick is now a shopfront. We will have an e-commerce platform, so we will be on 4 different platforms. So people, our youth, our young people will actually get e-commerce experience as well. So we'll be selling through on the web. We have a board of directors. We are currently partnering with disability services such as AbilityWorks, CVGT, Headspace have actually come in and said that they will help us to train our young people, do some team training about self-regulation, and also help our senior supervisors with training as well. We also then, one of our main branches of the Good Brick is our training arm. So myself as a senior supervisor and Jodie are both educators. I'm adult educator and Jodie is a school teacher. So we are writing a full curriculum for our neurodivergent kids, young people. And that it's called the Good Brick Passport. That will take our youth through a full training program where they will get real life skills that they can transfer into whatever area that they wish to go into. So we will have different areas that they can focus on. So if they're more front of house for customer service, we'll focus on those skills. If they are more back of house, we'll focus on pick and packing, more warehouse type areas. So we'll give them full transferable skills. And I think that's the key. So we will actually be looking at a full skills matrix to get them re-employed into long-term employment. We also have partnerships with Kmart to take them into an induction program to give them some real-life experience in induction. And we also will be forming partnerships with Polytechnic for traineeships, and our whole vision is that they will actually go into other paid employment after us. So we are the training arm, and then they will actually move on to other paid employment as well. So they'll get paid with us. We will train them, we will mentor them, we will nurture them, we will give them confidence, we will give them resumes, and then we'll be moving them on when they're ready. When they're ready is the key point. Okay, All of our training will be a strengths-based approach. Yeah, I think that is sort of where we're at. Yep, okay, I'll just show you some. Oh, that's Andrew. This is Andrew in the early days. So this was what we were currently doing. We've got about 250 sets, I think, now sorted, ready to go. I don't know which one. Hang on. There we go. This is some of our team. We already have 3 young people working with us as volunteers, 1 to 2 days a week. That's Jodie in the purple Brickvention t-shirt, as I mentioned before, and some of one of the board members there, Matt. One of our other donations coming through. Another donation. And this is what it was looking like last Friday. So we actually have a lot of support, which is amazing. What we are needing at the moment is more Lego, of course. What we would love to see is some adult mentors. If you know of someone who has a skill and who is retired or not retired and would love to come in and mentor our young people in something and spend some time with us, please reach out. If you know of someone who has some Lego that they would like to donate, please reach out. And charitable donations are always grateful as well. We are very grateful for Julie and All Saints for the space and the support that they've given us, the Banyule Council as well. And yeah, thank you for the time.
First donation from All Saints Church. Here's some Lego from our house. Mel, for a brief overview of what's coming in one of our spaces. In the other space, every Wednesday in the community room, which is the room right up there, Primed Araluan Meat. They are providing the morning tea afterwards, and you would have met them on the way in. I'd like to invite Primed up so they can also share about what they're doing as part of our parish response and one of our local parish partnerships.
Up on the stage.
Hello, my name is Jessica. I would like to tell you about Araluan. Araluan began in the 1960s with a group of frustrated parents of children with disabilities. These parents started a playgroup for their children in a garage in Kew. Araluan has now grown into a vibrant community which includes residential and day services across the Darwin Valley Shire. Araluan believes in inspiring, empowering and supporting people to have great lives. Good morning. We are the Co-Work Skills group from Araluan Disability Service.
So on Wednesday, Rochelle likes to be with the group, and she's written here that we learn about literacy. Do you want to do some more?
Numeracy, technology, future options, personal goals, community, recreation and travel.
Perfect. Yep. And Beck, you're going to hold that up to your now?
Yep. My favourite part is the personal goals. My goal was to make own choices, and now I do every day. Of the Go Work Skills course. Yeah? Right, then can you? Then I.
My favourite part of Go Work Skills was the Future Options section. I researched photography courses and found some courses I can enroll in.
Cara, my favourite part of Go Skills was learning about technology because we have to be cyber. Safe, and we learn about the importance of cyber safety.
I enjoyed doing the maths and literacy lessons to learn more maths and literacy skills.
Thank you for allowing us to be part of your disability inclusion program. Morning tea, and we hope you have a great morning.
A little bit of a glimpse. Thank you so much, Team Primed, and we look forward to being out there shortly. Before we finish up for morning tea, I really would like to invite Tony MacDonald, who has been pioneering in disability for 30 to 40 years, and a large part of why we have the Friendship Club. So Tony's going to share her story, some of her story, and leave with an encouragement for current advocates in this space. After which we'll pray and we'll head outside. Yeah.
If I don't sit down, I'll fall over. Sorry. Thank you. Thank you for having me. You're not wise to ask me to talk about disability because once I start talking, I never stop. That's what you told me. I had 5 minutes and I thought, what will I say? And I thought, I'll say what I want to say. And I wrote it out. And then I knew I wasn't going to fit that into 5 minutes, so I threw a lot of it away. And now you're landed with the rest of it, and you've just jolly well got to put up with it, because I'm here and you're there, and I've got the microphone. Look, this is a serious subject. Pardon me while I read it, because otherwise I couldn't remember. Disability is such a huge subject. It covers birth, babyhood, growing up, school years, teenage years, going to work, learning to live at home, going to where you're going to live when your parents are no longer here. Who's going to look after you? What are your health problems? And then old age hits you. Well, old age has already hit me. Disability covers a huge variety of different disabilities. And it's diagnosed at different times in life. And all disabilities are different. And many different people are involved in your life. All of these people have special needs. My major belief, this person who just happens to have a disability was born into this world in the same way as every other baby is born, and is entitled to every assistance that exists that can be given to him or her so that that person can go on to live the very best life possible. Thank you. This person is born into a family, so I have to include mothers, fathers, brothers and sisters who are also affected by the disability that's happened in this family. So I want to talk about needs and what happens to a family. First come parents, who are the first carers of teachers of their children, which includes all of their children, but their children with disability. How they are told about the disability, what information is given to them, what help can be given to them. Something has happened to them that they know nothing about. They didn't expect it. They didn't want it. It's a shock to the system. What information are they given? How is that information given? What happened to me? Great excitement. I was in hospital to deliver my third child, a boy or a girl. The baby is about to be born. The head appears. Silence. The baby is born. Complete silence. I knew I had a problem. A professor was immediately called to tell me all about my problem. He told me that my son had Down syndrome, and I'd never heard of it. He told me that my son would be different from other children. He wouldn't whirl, he wouldn't learn, and he would be a nothing. He would be a nothing. I've always remembered that sentence. He said I should put him into an institute immediately and not take him home. Kew Cottages, my reply, I'm taking him home. He's my kid. Remember, I was still in the birthing room all by myself. My husband didn't even know that this baby was born. The professor's comment to me saying I'd take the baby home and said, right, your problem. Walked out, slammed the door shut. We never saw him again. And in that hospital, I was moved from the ward to a balcony so that the other people with new babies would not see my baby who had a problem. They were protecting them, and I was out on the balcony all by myself. I remained in hospital for a further 10 days, had to leave in there because he had lots of health problems. He was very small and he had heart-lung problems, which go with the chromosomal problem that Down syndrome is, and don't start me talking about that one. On our way home from hospital, we decided to visit my mother-in-law, because in the 3 weeks' time that I'd been in hospital, she hadn't come to see us. We'd had no other word for us. We rang her doorbell. She answered, looked me straight in the eye, and her first comment was, well, there's no insanity in my side of the family. That was a really good get-up for us. We brought Rowan home at 5 months old, very tiny, very fragile. He was suffering from heart-lung problems, and they finally caused his death 37 years later. We were told that he wasn't going to live at all, but he lived a beautiful 37 years. What happened to us as a family, and this affected all of us. We had walked into a totally new world and we knew nothing about it. The first thing was that we lost all of our friends. They didn't know what to say to us, and we saw no one. We received no baby cards, but I received get well cards. We became isolated in this new world. No information anywhere, no books, no friends. What next? We had needs. We contacted our doctor to find other families who were in a life situation. And we met up with other families, and we gained information from other families. We learnt from each other. Groups were formed. Associations began. The Down Syndrome Association is one of them. We fought for education, special teachers, special classes in schools. We needed information and looked for literature. There was none. We contacted hospitals. They were not helpful. We wanted good health for our children. We wanted support for our families. We are still working for work for our children. We wanted them to have the best way that can be offered to any person in need. And I know this can happen. What happened to Rowan growing up? The kid who was going to be a nothing. Oh boy, he did everything. He was unusual. He learnt to read and write. He had a job and earned money. He travelled on public transport alone. He worked in a library because when he was 5 he could say the alphabet backwards. He had a great sense of humour. He put all his clothes away in the bedroom. He made his own bed and he put his dirty clothes out to be washed, which was much better than his older brother was. He could wash and dry the dishes, sweep the floor. He was a deb partner and he was a male model. He shared a bedroom with his brother, who taught him lots. Some good things, some bad things, including how to swear. But not in front of your mother. He had calipers on both legs too. That was just an extra because he couldn't walk without them. We could go on and on and on to many other stories of our children growing up. There's their 20s, their 30s, their 40s, their 50s. How do they fill in their time? Some people actually are beginning to go to work. My kid was one of them. What about others? What are their activities? Or do they sit in a room or lie in a bed doing nothing day after day and just deteriorating? We need more suitable activities for our family members. We need more trained people to work with our people. What are we doing about old age? And I'm talking about my old age too. The needs go on forever and ever. I stress the need for education, the possibility of getting a job, and I've seen this in my own son. He was also troubled with heart-lung problems and was ill. He went to the Austin Hospital, there for about 3 weeks. And on Saturday morning, we were visiting with other friends. He was talking and playing, having a lovely time. And all of a sudden, he stopped talking and got quiet. And he closed his eyes and he breathed more and more slowly. And all of a sudden, he just wasn't breathing anymore. He was not with us any longer. But he died with a smile on his face. It's a smile I have never forgotten. And it was near Christmas time. And the best Christmas time I got from a neighbour. And that neighbour said, "You have no more need to worry about Rowan. He's up in heaven talking with Jesus and he's playing with the angels." I was lucky to have a wonderful husband who supported me in all that I did in the way of disability. I didn't realise at the time the effect that this had had on my other 2 children. And they still tell me today of all the things that I didn't do with them when they were growing up, because I was too busy doing things with people with disabilities and their families. Ah, dear, where do we go from them? I think I've talked for long enough, but I've brought along, I had 2 photographs, but I couldn't reach the other one to bring it. It was of Rowan when he was a baby, but this is Rowan grown up. This is the kid that was going to be a nothing, and that kid did everything. He did everything because he was expected to. He had a family who brought him up to do it, And we made sure that he did receive an education. Somewhere I've got a list of all the things that he could do. But I won't bother telling you about it now because time's gone.
Many of Rowan's friends are actually here and they might talk to you afterwards, Tony. What Tony hasn't actually mentioned is she's received an Order of Australia for her advocacy throughout the years, both in education, hospital systems, state government and federal government. She's too humble to have shared that with you, but over to you, Virginia, and then Genevieve to you to finish up.
Well, this seems pretty minor compared to that, Tony. But we just wanted to acknowledge and honour you on your 40 years of pioneering and championing disability inclusion ministry at All Saints Greensborough. We just thank you, Tony, and just the amazing story that you shared about your beloved son, Rowan. So thank you so much for sharing that, love.
The members of our family given the opportunity these days can do anything. They can have an education, they can go to work, they can be part of society in the way that every other person is. But society has to permit them to do it and learn about disability as well.
Thank you so much, Tony. And Tony shared some beautiful stories about the beginnings of the ministry at All Saints, so that's another story for another time. Thank you.
Have I got a minute to tell you about Friendship Group?
Over morning tea.
It's worth hearing.
Absolutely. Yes, I agree. Yep. I had a glimpse of that, so please come and talk to Tony about Friendship Group.
And I think I simply want to say that we heard, if society permits, okay. I just wanted to say, you mentioned if society permits. I think the message for us is if the church permits and if our church permits. And I thought to finish, let's stand, and those of you who wish to, or if you wish to stand, but those of you who wish to and want to, join with me in saying the grace. The grace of our Lord Jesus Christ, the love of God, and the fellowship of the Holy Spirit be with us all, evermore. Amen. Let's enjoy this beautiful morning tea that's coming.